Jill, you can do this. Look at me. Stop crying. I know he's scary, but you can do this. Run, quick! Oh, you got him! Go! Hurry, hurry, hurry! Well, I'm dead. Hello friends, my name is Dante, and you could say I have a pretty wacky life. When I'm not making friends with zombies or punching liquor square in the face, I'm running away from my abusive uncle Nemesis. Gee, not again, Nemi. I probably have internal bleeding. Oh geez, I think I've really pissed that demon off. But it's not all bad. Every now and then, my crazy life slows to a halt and I just take a second to really smell the roses and appreciate life. Sometimes I even get surprised by my best friends in the weirdest places. Oh no! My best friend was killed in front of me. Well, there's only so much you can do. No point in dwelling in the past. So, can you beat Resident Evil 3 knife only? How did I deal with the Horde? And is Final Nemesis even possible to defeat knife only? Let's find out, Ravioli gang. Sorry guys, I've always wanted to have my own reality show. But anyway, like my friend Nico BBQ would say, the rules are simple. Bop bop. No hot dogger or shop items allowed. Why? Because I ain't no puss! And 2, I have to play on Inferno difficulty. Why? Because I ain't no— I woke up in my depressing apartment in depressing Raccoon City and contemplated my depressing life. And as if my life wasn't bad enough already, my bladder was full and I needed to go to the bathroom. The moment I stepped into my bathroom, I noticed I left my water running all night and I started to wonder why God hated me so much. Damn, Jill. Is it just me? Or are you getting hotter? Jill? Jill, what are you doing? This is the knife only challenge, Jill. No, don't do it! Jill! Jill! Oh, thank God, it was just a dream. I thought I had already failed the challenge.
Hello?
Jill, the thick boy!
Brad, is that you?
No, it's me, Chad. He's killing anyone who isn't thick.
What are you talking about?
Jill, you're built like an anorexic twig in the middle of July. Get out of there! Oh God, it was a member of the Thick Police. An organization so ruthless that it kills anyone who isn't considered thick. He slapped me around a little, tried to bust my lady chops, and I quickly yeeted my way out of that situation. This man was the equivalent of an abusive ex-boyfriend, but instead of throwing his Xbox controller at me, he threw pieces of wall. I barricaded myself in my neighbor's house, admired his excellent book collection for a second, and came across a poor man clinging to the fire escape for his life. All I could think about at this moment were those cute, motivating hang in there cat posters. Hang in there, sir, and don't forget you're awesome. No! I didn't really know Jim, the guy who lived in room 401. And I never would. I ran some more from Nemesis, cut his penis, his tentacle thing, and I finally escaped from him. Well, that was easy. That's when I met Brad. The piece of shit who left us behind in Resident Evil 1. We quickly got surrounded by a horde of zombies and I was not looking to die today, so I followed the man into the nearby bar. Damn it, Brad, you had one job! I left that fool for the zombie horde to deal with, and here is where I got my first gun, which also meant I had my knife. The only way to attack anything in this challenge would be to perfect dodge an enemy and then knife the fool in the back. So during this playthrough, I became a dodging master and a parrying god. I dodged my first big boy like a complete badass, met my future husband, his name's Gerald, and killed a dog for no other reason than pleasure. The helicopter magically blows up. Confringo!
You're a wizard, Harry.
And I tried to make Nemesis my new hood ornament, which ended up failing horribly. Well, it was a good run, boys. It was Carlos, the fastest man in all of Mexico! I could already tell Carlos would be a great guy. Right when I thought life couldn't get any better, Carlos introduced me to MIKHAIL. There's something I just love about this man.
You didn't even think to ask fine young lady her name? Her name is something...
Ravioli.
It's
Dante.
Nice to meet you.
Dante. It was my job to get this train up and running, and this is where the real challenge started. Okay, so it was a long intro, but it's time to get into the meat and gravy of this challenge. The potatoes and the fine ground beef. It was time for me to practice my knife combat skills. Oi! Now don't get me wrong, I did mess up a few times. After all, dodging perfectly on Inferno difficulty without any shop items is hella hard, and one bite is enough to put you in the fro zone. And not to brag or anything, But I'll have you know I was only on this part for 37 minutes. Eventually, with my good looks, determination, and hard work, I was finally able to put Mr. Zombo to rest. Hell yeah! I was feeling really good. I was feeling powerful as heck. Until I came across the narrow alley full of zombies. I tried to tell them that I was built like an anorexic twig in the middle of July, but they just wouldn't listen. Long story short, I epically dodged every single two-legged Bambi, dodged by the protector of the gate, and somehow dodged the zombie and the tentacle boy without taking major damage. Now that's what I call a bro moment. There was some random guy manhandling the double doors, but it was nothing a few butt stabs couldn't help. And what do you know? The fire was now put out. This poor kid kept rambling about how great Fortnite was, and understandably, he was given a stern warning. Now, I'd like to point out one funny thing here. If you get a zombie out of bounds, for example, past this gate, he won't attack you and will be ripe for the picking, so to speak. Basically, it's a risk-free way to perform big oof on your enemies. I'm not proud of my strategy, but it worked, goddammit. By the way, if you Honeysuckle Juniors are enjoying this video, click the like button as that really does help this video be seen by other people. The dogs were kind of spooky, so I just dodged my way away from them, while also getting slapped around by the tentacle boys a bit. It was kind of humiliating. Here's where Jill got randomly assaulted by a ceiling creature, and guess what? She was now pregnant with its babies. Where's Nemesis when you need him? I took the green herb to heal my soul, and although these insect boys were kind of difficult to dodge, they'd usually die in one knife counter slash, so this part really wasn't too much of an issue. Jesus Christ! No, you know what? I've had enough of this shit. I'm gonna fight you, dipshit. No, just kidding. This was my legitimate first time trying to escape Nemesis on Inferno. Look! Look at the finesse, the power, the speed. Oh! Oh! Oh my god! It was at this point that I realized I was a god. I swear, every other part I had to do 50 times, but the fact that this was my first attempt at escaping Nemesis really did put a smile on my face. Now here's my dilemma, okay? Somehow on God's green earth, I was able to maneuver myself through the city, turn on the subway system, and dodge my way by not one, but two tentacle boys. But oh, Nemesis just wasn't having it. First, he tried throwing me off balance by yelling at me. But I was able to easily slip by his attack. Instead of admitting defeat, slapping me on the butt and saying good game, the jealous tyrant tentacled my ankle and tried pulling me through the fence.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Thank goodness God was on my side at that moment because the gate made a protective barrier between us. Now, I saved on the typewriter immediately after that because Inferno mode doesn't do autosaves and I really didn't want to go through that nightmare again. But guess what? Nemesis can actually come into that save room. Not only that, but every time I died from him cornering me in the room, I'd respawn right there and he'd be waiting for me at the door again. Like an endless loop of pain and misery. What the frick, dude? But it's me, Dante Ravioli. And with my patented tyrant door strat, I was able to slip by the thick one with no repercussions to my fragile woman body. You know, you're a really good guy, Nemesis. Just a little misunderstood. I made my way to the subway, dodged yet another tentacle lad, ducked under the gate just as Nemesis was right on my booty, and it was my mission to distract the member of the thick police away from the innocent people of the train. But how in the hell would I do that without a gun?
You want stars? I'll give you stars!
I took this opportunity to get the frig away from that psychopath and quickly started pounding the yellow gate. It was now or never.
Did you say chocolate? Chocolate? Chocolate!
Now that was intense. So the sewers were my new home and oh boy, were the locals ever great. I could not get by this part. Since Inferno difficulty doesn't autosave, I had to get through the entire sewer section in one go. Now, yes, you can knife these bad boys to death if you time the dodge right, but at the time of me recording the gameplay, I didn't know that. So instead, I packed my pockets full of first aid spray, prayed to Jesus Christ himself, and threw my body at these terrifying creatures. I died an inconceivable amount of times. I had to get by not 2, not 3, but 4 of these fishy kebabs while also not knowing exactly how to dodge by them, and if that wasn't enough, 2 tentacle gentlemen were also thrown into the mix. Eventually, I figured out a way to slip by the first wave of enemies. Then I got lucky with the second lad saving me from a tentacle brainsucker, and I finally had my body yeeted to the ladder from the final blobberfish. After 45 minutes of failure, this was my best shot, my golden opportunity. Now it's time for some Resident Evil 3 trivia. Did you know, if you lead the lone blobberfish over to the battery door, he'll slip his little tentacles through the door and you can poke them with your knife? Do this enough times and your foe will fall dead from blood loss.
Whoa, that's a genuinely shocking fact.
But be careful, if you're clumsy like me, there's a good chance his tentacles will somehow still throw your fragile body across the room, shattering your spine in 50 different places. And because of that, I had to spend another half hour trying to get back there. Eventually I made it, stabbed the blobberfish enough times for it to KO, and I was on my way to the Nemesis flamethrower fight. Huh, you know, he really reminds me of Barry from back in Resident Evil 1. So here is where I had to change the difficulty to hardcore instead of Inferno. I know, your disappointment is immeasurable and your day is ruined. But, you know, after spending 3 hours on this fight and getting nowhere with it, then realizing that this wasn't even the hardest part of the challenge, I had to call it. I had to swallow my pride and walk away. Could I have finished the entire challenge after 2 weeks of trying? Yeah, I'm sure I could. Would it be worth using 2 weeks of my time just to say I beat Resident Evil 3 on Inferno mode with no shop items? No, it really wouldn't. What am I gonna do, put that on my resume? So from here on out, the rest of the gameplay will be on the hardcore difficulty. Still pretty epic, but not as epic. Surprisingly, it seemed like Nemesis had just as much health as he did on Inferno mode. The only difference being he was easier to dodge, and he didn't kill me in a single hit! That's all I ask. Eventually, I cut him down to size, and I met my hero, Kendo. He was a good lad, and I even had a picture of him in my wallet. Unfortunately though, I had to leave the guy behind. To be honest, he was kinda creeping me out. So of course, being the dodging pro that I am, I got away from rocket launcher Nemesis without a scratch. The poor lad got blown up, and with this, he gave me the creepiest look in the entire game. Officially spooked. But to look on the bright side, Carlos saved my damn life. You know what? You're alright, boy. But I also hate you for ditching me.
Good work. Your reputation is well deserved.
Stop, you're making me blush.
You see? You're learning. The only life that matters is your own.
Shut up before I slap those cheeks raw, Nikolai. As much as I hated Nikolai, MIKHAIL was also on this ride, and that was enough for me. That is, until he fucking died!
Get off my train. Shit, Barda!
MIKHAIL! Why is it always the good ones? Rest in pepperonis, my dear friend. It was time for Tyrell and Carlos to bond on their first bro trip, and I gotta say, playing as Carlos was not fun.
I got this fucker. Come get some!
Now yes, it's true Carlos can shoulder nudge zombies over and over again until they're dead, but that's not very useful against hordes, now is it? So yes, I admit, I had a tough time with the man who shares my haircut. I may stroke my ego multiple times a video, but I can also point out my flaws and failures. I had such a hard time, in fact, that I could not get by the mini horde down by the police armory room. No matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't get through without getting bit. So, I used my door strategy. I'd lure a poor innocent zombie down the hallway, you know, tell him I had a little bit of candy for him in the back. And right before they'd lunge at me, I'd hop into the safe room and start cutting my unsuspecting victim until they died. Hell, this was so effective and I got so carried away that I ended up taking down the whole horde door style. Look at all those marks on the wall, and look at that thick pile of bodies.
You could call it cheating, I call it strategy. Shit!
I'm telling you guys, there's a strong power in these Resident Evil doors. One that even I cannot understand. I'm not gonna bore y'all with the details. I killed a licker with just a knife, which is easily done as long as you stay to the side of the licker. Knifed a zombie cop who had no use of his legs. Got physically assaulted by another cop in the shower room. Plowed through a horde of zombies with my masculinity alone. And punched a licker square in the face to then get completely murdered by it. Four Eyes showed up, did his computer nerd stuff like usual, and it was time for the Nemesis dog fight. There's really not much to say. This fight was incredibly easy and I did it on my second try. It just takes 20 to 30 minutes to complete because the standard knife barely does any damage. After lots of butt stabs and slapping him around like it was nothing, little doggy was finally defeated. Just to make sure he was dead, I stood over his motionless corpse and started stabbing the frig out of his toes. I had finally won. But of course, I was wrong. Nemesis woke up and pumped my veins full of lead. It was over. I was done for. Until my knight in shining armor popped up. What a guy. We arrived at the hospital and it was Carlos's mission to find the vaccine for Jill. Yet again, I used my infamous door strat on the horde in the hospital and I gotta say, I did a real fine job. Bada bing bada boom, I slipped by all the hunters, gave Jill the vaccine, and here was the moment that truly made me a man. Fending off the horde of zombies with nothing else but the knife in my holster and the meat hooks on my forearms. Similar to the Nemesis flamethrower fight, I was stuck on this part for hours. I tried over and over and over again with nothing to show for it. Why is this part hard? If I just had to take out a horde of zombies, I'd be okay. The electric boogaloos make this part completely doable. But the game developers over at Capcom just had to include 2 hunters in this fight. So not only do I have to fight 6 zombies at once with the chance of a tentacle boy spawning, but I also have to take care of 2 hunters at the same time. The thing that really annoys me about hunters is this one move they have that insta-kills you, and just like an annoying little brother, they'll keep spamming that move over and over again until they kill you. So many times I'd come close to beating this part, but I just couldn't do it. I really didn't think it was worth having a brain aneurysm over this short horde part, so I said enough is enough, bought the hot dogger in the store, and literally beat this part my next try. It still counts as knife only, so I don't feel too bad, but I really wanted to go without using any store items. Oh well. I immediately put the knife back in its case and went to speak to my favorite guy in the room, Tyrell. He was looking at me like a 2-for-1 movie deal for $9.95 at Best Buy, which made me slightly uncomfortable, but the good news was I was Jill again. And wouldn't you know it, Carlos busted into the room and assured me everything was okay. That is, until he started showing severe signs of constipation. I really didn't want to shoot Carlos. I mean, he was my friend. He was one of the boys. I just couldn't do it. To my surprise, it was another dream. I don't know what's real anymore. Tyrell told me that Carlos was trying to earn my love by capturing Nikolai for me, and I knew I had to go after him. I busted through the first set of double doors, but before I rammed through the second, I stopped myself. What is that? Carlos was here. I made it to the lab to be greeted by some spooky creatures. My first response was to stab them in the butt, but this didn't seem to do anything. Incredible. Grabbing some fuses and dodging my way to a ladder, I found myself in Nikolai's crib. The piece of garbage was long gone, and all I could do was watch the spooky creatures from above. It was kind of calming, actually. My solitude was shattered when all of a sudden, I heard the elevator being used. I was ready to blow their goddamn head off the moment I saw it peek up over the floor. But thank goodness I didn't, because it was the madman himself, Tyrell. You know, you're starting to grow on me, man. You're a welcome part of my team. Tyrell hacked the computer door panel, I beat him in a foot race, and we were on our way to greener pastures. Tyrell! No, god damn it! Not you too. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't lose anyone else. I was gonna find Carlos and I wasn't gonna let anything happen to him. I was fueled with rage and anger. I was dodging all threats perfectly. I pulled out the hot dogger again for the hunters in the lab because frig that, and I finally made it to Nemesis Dog Part 2. It's basically the same fight as the clock tower scene, but with the added challenge of his tentacle arm and 3 zombies spawning in every minute or so. Do you guys think I was prepared enough? Just like the clock tower, this fight lasts about 30 minutes or so knife only. Hell, the fight was taking so long that the zombies even stopped spawning after a certain point. But I digress. He was finally defeated for good after we gave him the biggest bitch slap in history. It was Nikolai's turn to cooperate. I tracked that piece of shit down, and right before I blew his brains out, Nemesis Slug busted through the wall and ruined my day. Carlos, being the fastest man in all of Mexico, hightailed it after Nikolai, and I was completely alone to face Nemesis Slug. He was quickly turning into a beautiful butterfly, and he needed to be stopped. I know what you're thinking. It's impossible to beat Final Nemesis knife only, right? There's no way to attack his pustule sacs, and the moment I grab onto one of those battery cores, he'll scoop me up and annihilate me in one bite. Well, that's where you'd be wrong, friend. You can actually run over to a battery, push it in for half a second, wait for Nemesis's arms to go from red to normal, and rinse and repeat. It's a long process, but after doing this for long enough, all 3 cores will eventually be pushed in and you can use the railgun on the guy. You might be telling me that I failed the challenge because I used the railgun, but for once I actually disagree. I usually count forced gun usages as failing in my challenges, but every time this gun is used, it's in a cutscene. Not once do you use it as an actual gun in the gameplay. So no, just like Jill using the gun in the beginning, I don't count this as a gun usage. Alright, I pushed in all 3 power cores, Jill grabbed the railgun to put an end to Nemesis once and for all, and... oh... jeez, I don't think he swings that way, Jill. I think he's more into women. This challenge was in the bag! I was about to start celebrating, but I couldn't help but think I was forgetting something. Carlos! I ran as fast as I could, but it was too late. He was dead. God damn it, Carlos. I promised I'd protect you. Imagine my surprise when Nikolai popped out of nowhere and threatened to kill me. Shoot me, I said. There's no point in living in a cold, cruel, Carlosless world. Right when I thought it was all over, Carlos yeeted his entire body into Nikolai and they started having an epic battle. Carlos held Nikolai back, I shot him in the throat, and we ditched that loser. Suck it! It was a good day. Brad finally got what was coming to him, I finally defeated Nemesis, and best of all, I completed the knife-only challenge. Time to celebrate, baby! I may have had to use the hot dogger twice, but it was a price I was willing to pay for my sanity. I watched as the missile destroyed Raccoon City once and for all. I wouldn't say I was happy, no. After all, I'd lost my main man Tyrell, MIKHAIL's body was plastered to the sides of the subway system, and Jim was now... Wait a minute! I think I left the water running at home. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to me because I make new gaming challenge videos every single week. And overall, it's just a great time on the Dante Ravioli channel. Make sure to click that bell though. If you don't click that bell, you pretty well aren't subscribed to me, so make sure you click that bell. Thanks for watching, check out the many other gaming challenges on my channel, and I'll see you... thick boys! In my next video.